No. He
armchair
just
rocket.
rejoined. I don't. He just rejoined the stream, and then he left again. It's like he's spying on me. He wants to make sure I'm doing a good job. You don't trust me?
Skunk.
Never has, never will.
This is Joe we're talking about. He just clicked the wrong button again.
That's probably true.
Had to rest YouTube. Don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
It does not sound good.
It means that he's listening to us. Reset. Oh, okay.
Gotcha. I tell you this is fun. One of the wrestling shows. It's the new. It's not a new show, but it's the latest one I'm working for. I just got hired on by these guys. Now they don't pay me a whole lot of money, but
hey, every dollar is a dollar.
They were able to cover my gas the last time I went down there, and I was happy with that. But it's really just to go down there and network and hang out with people and have a good time. That's what I'm getting out of this. And I figure, the more that I help these guys out for little money, that when I actually debut and start wrestling, they'll put me in the ring. And that's what I'm hoping for. So anyway, but the guy is like, "Can you come down and do sound? Because our sound guy is going to go." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do sound for you guys. That's no problem."
What weight class?
Like, are you going to be able to? Cruiser.
Okay.
Because her wrestling, there's only two classes. There's cruiser and heavyweight. They don't have like feather or bantam or any of the other stuff.
Okay, yeah.
When I did boxing, I was featherweight. And I was smaller then. I was a teenager. But no, it's cruiserweight and heavyweight. Cruiserweight's anything under 205 pounds. I'm under 205 pounds. So,
yeah.
And I know people that are over 205 pounds. They're considered heavyweights. And then, yeah. So
I would be a friggin' aircraft carrier weight. That's heavier than a cruiser.
Technically, some of the pro wrestling organizations have super heavyweight, which is anything over, I believe, 410.
Oh, well, I'm not that. I'm 260 right now.
You'd have to be really tall to get in that weight class.
Yeah, or really fat.
Or else you'd be a sumo.
Well, yeah. I was not going to go there.
Yokozuna wasn't that tall, but he was very wide because he was a sumo wrestler. But anyway, I started working for the show, and of course I wanted to. I wanted to work for the show. Not like the guys that run the show and stuff. But after I agreed to it, it was like every other day. Hey, you're going to be able to make it, right? You're going to be able to make it, right? You're going to be able to make it, right? I'm like, yes, I'm going. I'm going. I already agreed. I'm going to be at this show. Like, I will make it happen. I might be a little late, but I will make it happen because I didn't know it was going to be a double bill. Nobody told me, and so
it sounds like they've been burned a few times before.
Apparently, but the guy just kept saying, "Oh, you're going to be there, right? You're going to be there. What time are you getting off work?" I'm like, I don't know what time I'm going to get off work, dude. Like, I drive for a living. I could be getting off work at 2. I could be getting off work at 6. I'm not going to know until I get to the end of my route. I'm like, even when I get my route, I have no idea because traffic. It's not like going to a warehouse and like move all these pallets to the other side of the warehouse and you're done for the day. No, it's, hey, you got to go to all these locations and if it's a nice, beautiful, sunny day, it's going to work out great for you. And if it's pouring ass rain, there's going to be an interstate accident. You're going to get stuck in traffic for 3 hours. You have no idea what's going to happen. Anything could happen, So, day of the show, I texted him that morning. I said, everything looks like it's going great. I went to sleep early last night. I got up early this morning. I'm knocking these. It looks like I'm going to be able to get there. Not only am I going to be on time, I'm actually going to get there a little early. Things are looking up. They're looking perfect. We're rocking and rolling. And he's like,
jinxed yourself, didn't you?
It's great. What time are you going to get off work? I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I still don't know what time I'm going to get off. I would say things look good now. It's like, oh, okay. All right, so text me when you get off work. And then, like, a couple hours later, it was like, are you off work yet? I'm like, no, it's noon, dude. I'm not even out of Georgia, man. Come on. And it just kept going like this. And finally, I get to the end of the day, I'm like, dude, I'm going to the gas station. Like, it's like 2 o'clock. I'm like, I'm going to the gas station right now to get gas. And I will text you when I leave. He goes, okay. And so I took a screenshot of where I currently was and where I was going, and it had on there what time it was, my location, the location where the arena is at, and an estimated time. And I sent it to him, and I thought that's all I had to do. And I hit the road, and I started driving down the street, and he texted me back, "Have you left yet?" I sent you a map. Like I thought that was a clear indicator. This is what time I will be there. You know, I sent it while I was moving. Like I was leaving the parking lot when I hit send to make sure that, you know, that it went through at the time period I was leaving. So he would know, okay, it's going to take him, you know, 2 hours, 15 minutes or whatever, you know, and it was Google Maps. So it accounted for all the 285 traffic and everything else I was going to have to deal with. And so, you know, again, it's going to take me like 2 hours and 15 minutes to get to this place. I'm making great time, you know. Hit 285 traffic sucked, but I got all the way through it. I literally get off on the exit that goes to this place, and he texts me, and he's like, "Did you get lost? Have you been in an accident?" Or I'm like, dude, it's only been 2 hours. Give me an extra like 15 to 30 minutes because I just got off on the exit. I'm on the road that leads to the arena. And I told him what road it was that I was on. And he goes, "Oh, you're down the street." Yeah, no kidding. It's like, it's so this whole entire thing, the reason I told that whole long rambling story is just that I love this dude. He's a great guy. Him and Joe both need to, like, if you put me in charge of something, just trust me. I'm going to take care of it. Everything's going to be fine. If there's an issue, I will let you know. You don't have to keep popping back in or calling me all the time. Yep. Got this.
I got a couple of texts from my supervisor after I got home from work today asking me if I had I had to substitute for a quality control inspector today. So he wanted to know whether I did any of the quality tests that they were supposed to do. And I go, yeah. The paperwork's in the inbox where it's supposed to be, in the blue envelope where you require it to be. It's right there. I did everything. I even did some of my stuff while the production line was shut down for maintenance. And he goes, oh, okay, right. I'm going, all you had to do was walk half a mile to where the reports were and collect them. But, you know, it's not the scheduled day to do that. He's supposed to do that tomorrow before he goes home from work for the last time for the week. And I'm like, dude, you asked me to do this. I've got it done. Trust me. I am a professional. Don't try this at home. But he's young. He's
That's all you had to say.
Well, I'm not exactly a spring chicken, but this guy, I've got grandchildren older than him. So
well, that's the thing, and I've noticed this about a lot of places that I've worked, and obviously I'm not trying to be the you know, sitting out on the porch in rocking chair, damn kids, get off my lawn. I ain't being like that, but I noticed throughout the years of my time in the workforce that whenever somebody who's really young gets put into a position of power, and they're in a position of power where they're over somebody who's older than them, I don't know if it's a disrespect thing or if it's they're trying to show that, hey, I'm a worker here too. Like, I'm trying to help out. You know, I'm trying to do the best job I possibly can. I want everybody to know I'm doing a good job because I'm, you know, but they'll be really pushy about stuff like that because they think that because they're so young they're being scrutinized. It's kind of what I'm saying. Well, or they're so young they're being an arrogant jerk. One or the other.
In this case, it's the scrutiny because this guy inherited the job and then had to fight to get the job title and the office and the pay that went with it. The management was not treating him fairly, and he's a really good boss. He's one of the best bosses I've ever had. And matter of fact, next week I'm going to be doing the QC inspector job for 2 people that had vacation time already scheduled for a while back, but we've got trainees in the positions that would have covered for them while they were on vacation. So I'm the only one that can cover for them at this point in time. And if it wasn't me, he would have to give up his Thanksgiving holiday with his 2 children, one of which is a newborn, and his wife. And I'm going, dude, I got this. You go home, you relax. I'll get time and a half. I'll get a 7-day check. Hey, that's double time for that Sunday. No big deal. I have worked rotating shifts for 43 years. I can step into these shoes quite easily. I've got them to where they fit nicely. I like my daytime only job, but I don't get any overtime in the DTO job. So I used to be able to get 1 to 4 days overtime per our 8-day week. We got 4 days on, 4 days off on rotating shifts. So I got to where I could do all of that. And I hesitate to say in my sleep because I could get fired for being asleep at work. But
of course, especially quality control.
Yeah, really.
It's like that. Reminds me of when Homer is on The Simpsons. Homer and Barney went to the Duff Brewery. And Barney distracts the guy in quality control. You're doing a great job, Phil. Thanks very much, man. It means a lot. You know, you see all the stuff going by: syringe, rat, Hitler's head, the jar.
Yeah, it's not quite that bad, but there have been cases when the QC people have said, "Hey, this is scrap. You need to throw it away, and we need to make some changes." And management has said, "Oh, we can't afford to do that. We're going to ship it anyway. We'll just deal with the complaints if we get any." And they're just going, "Wait a minute. You wrote the rules. I'm just abiding by them. Now you're breaking them?"
Of course. Rules don't apply to upper management.
Yeah, and well, it's the upper that's the problem. The middle management would be quite content to try and do everything by the book, but when their bosses are breathing down their necks and they don't have, well, their management, they don't have a unit to protect them like I do. They do what they can. Did you finally get the camera thing worked out?
Well, the GoPro goes beep, 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 beep just before it. Yeah. So when it went beep, 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 I just cut to a standby camera until I could get the GoPro back on. So
I like the light ring.
Oh,
ring light.
Yeah.
Well, naturally, I would say it backwards.
It's a photography staple.
Mm.
But now they're super popular because everybody's doing YouTube and Zoom. And
I've got one built into my camera right now, but I've got it turned off.
I just got a new set of lights in that I think you would think is cool. It's have you ever heard of GVM?
Nope.
They're an up and coming company. Well, it's great video maker.
Yeah, that's why I said that. Apparently, they're great video makers.
Yeah, and so this light kit was $265, and it comes with the stands, power adapters, and the lights, and the lights are pretty cool. Actually, I didn't.
Oh, well, it looked like you did.
Yeah, I just pretended to. It's all tricks, mirrors and cameras, and But great thing about these. What are you doing?
I'm looking at myself. Looking at the delay. It's really amazing that we could have like a one-on-one conversation, no problem, but there's that much of a delay. It's like a 1 second delay.
That's StreamYard.
Yeah.
Anyway, look at the size. Look at the size of the light. Okay.
Yeah.
There's where the AC plug goes in, but looky here. I think these are charged up. I've got some higher amperage batteries coming in tomorrow, but these are some that I use on some top lights for my other cameras.
Mm-hmm.
It's got barn doors.
Oh, yeah. That's
good. Okay. It's definitely closed up.
All right. Now.
All LED.
LED. Ta-da.
Yeah. That's a lot of lumens.
Hollywood Lewis.
It's 5,000 lux. Now, what's cool about this? Well, one of the cool things about it is, okay, let's see. It's dimmable. Really?
It's got a lot of play in that dim.
It does have a lot of play.
Oh, and then you hit the threshold and it goes.
Yeah, then you hit the threshold. All right. So now, and here's the color temperature. It'll go down to 3,200 Kelvin, up to 5,600 Kelvin. So it goes from yellow to blue.
Yeah.
But that ain't all. There's more.
Oh wait.
Let's see.
What would you pay?
Let me put it in Wi-Fi mode.
Oh,
and
dear God.
Oh yeah, baby. Here's the app.
And I see the control panel flashing.
Wait for it. He's about to do something really cool here in a minute.
Yeah.
You know, I know guys at work that have fog lamps on their trucks that are about like that, but they don't have the louvers on it, the barn doors.
I hate 4x4 guys that have those LED fog lights all over their vehicles because they turn them on at night and it is so bright.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Let me. There we go.
Okay.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
you have blue, and then there's so that's like a magenta,
ultraviolet, orange.
They're
yellow.
RGB.
Yeah, I was gonna say are they WRGB or
yeah?
Yeah. So you have it's 4 LEDs per LED cluster.
Right.
White, red, green, and blue.
Yep.
You don't even need gels for that. You could just adjust it manually
and
to the color you want.
One last thing. It's got pre-programmed programs. Party mode.
Yeah, right on. So
if you want to make it look like there's a party going on in the room that you're shooting.
Yeah.
Okay. Oop, hold on. Let me go back to that. Okay. Disco mode.
It's just
paparazzi to make it look like there's a lot of flash bulbs going off.
Yeah, gotcha.
Lightning.
Strobe lights.
Put that through put that through a window. And police car. Alternating red and blue flashing lights.
Yeah. It does definitely. Yeah, that does definitely.
Oh, and candlelight.
Oh.
Slightly flickering yellowish, orangish glow.
Yeah.
A romantic spotlight.
Yeah. Oh, and TV. If you want to make it look like you're watching TV, like have this off and see the slight
it works
difference.
so great.
It flickers, yeah. That's cool.
So real happy with that. $265 for the kit. So that's not bad. Especially since you can run it off batteries, because there's a lot of times where some of the shoots that I go to, AC is not handy, or not at least not
well
close.
This is the closest thing that I have to that, Lewis, and it's this.
You have the mirrored ball that goes with that?
No, but
we've got one down in the shed.
Joe Doc does. This is a Thin-Tri 38. It's a Venue brand by Proline. DMX LED, or it's RGB only. There's no white in here. RGB stage light. And the reason why I have it is because at TWE we were working on an experiment. We never got it finished. I never found a way of making it work. But what I wanted to do was every time we played a video for a wrestler's entrance, that the lighting, because it's all DMX lighting, it's DJ lighting, right? That the lighting would correspond to the video. So we wanted certain things to happen. That way you could just click a button. You just take your mouse and click a button just like we do here. Like if I wanted to play one of these videos, if I wanted to do like the, one of the good night everybody's, just
good night everybody,
like that. That's just all you'd have to do for the wrestler's entrance video, and then the lights would also be going with that wrestler's colors.
Yeah, kind of like the ambient light in the back of some LED TVs.
Well, we didn't want it. I didn't want it directly based off of whatever video they were coming out to, because some of the videos, like some of the videos, are white, but they want red lights. Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of the videos have certain colors. So we didn't want it to be like the LEDs on the TV. We wanted to be able to control it directly so it's more in tune with whatever the song or the character is.
Okay.
And we wanted to be able to have like pulsating lights that fade in and out, and strobes and different colors. And we wanted to have like we have one team that used to show up called the Heat Seekers. And so we wanted fire to go with there. So we had, right now all I was doing was I've got the DMX controller, which I could change the lights on the fly with. I could put it in strobe mode and just be like red, orange, yellow, red, orange, yellow, red, orange, yellow. That gives like a fire effect, That changes the color. But I'm still having to sit there and be like,
yeah.
I'd rather just for it to be able to do it, mix the colors together, do it randomly, make it look like fire, and I could program all that in. I could do that at home, but the problem is getting it to play right with the system there at TWE. I experimented with a whole bunch of different things. I never could get it to work the way I ever wanted it to, because we use OBS, and OBS just doesn't play well with. OBS doesn't have any MIDI functionality, because again, OBS is designed for broadcasting over the internet. It's designed for like live streamers on Twitch. Not really designed for playing videos over TVs at a wrestling event. And I did talk to about, because there's other people who have said, yeah, that would be cool, but we'd have no use for it, so we're not going to program it. And I've literally talked to some of these guys and been like, I will pay you. I have money. I will pay you to program this. And I don't mean to sound like that guy. Obviously, I don't have any programming skills, but I don't think it would be that hard to be able to set up a DMX or MIDI scripting thing in OBS. I just want OBS to, if I click on a file, or if I click on a video, or not a video, if I click on a scene, I load a scene in OBS. If I load a scene in OBS, why can't it just also open a MIDI file with that scene? I don't understand why that's such an issue. But because everybody's like, oh, nobody uses MIDI anymore. Well, so what? A lot of people use a lot of different things. And somebody was all like, oh, if you want to open a MIDI file, use VLC. I'm like, yeah, but VLC doesn't use MIDI. VLC uses sound fonts. Doesn't work the same way.
And video.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you play a MIDI file, it only plays sound fonts. It will not play actual MIDI information.
Go back to your toy rockets.
Toy rockets are done.
Yeah.
So there's my company sign, and I put a string of programmable LED lights behind it to reflect, and it's kind of cool because you can change the colors and make it do all kinds of cool things like swap colors around.
Yep.
You can just choose a color. That's supposed to be white, but it's not really white. But
yeah,
anyway,
it doesn't have any white LEDs.
It's Chinese.
Yeah. But
I got it from wish.com. Does that tell you anything?
Yeah, exactly.
That tells you it's a miracle it's working at all.
That's why I only have.
It tells you it's a miracle you didn't get a pair of socks in the mail.
But that's why I only have the one LED. I only have that one LED light. That's the reason I only have that one. I never bought a full LED rig for my DJing stuff because I've never needed it. If I've ever performed anywhere, they either have their own lighting setup or, like, for example, Halicon. When I've DJed at Halicon, we have our own lights. Or they don't want any lights. I'm okay with either. I don't need to bring a light rig thing. But I've thought lately about getting one just because what if I do DJ a thing where I could like knock out the lights and put my own lights on and do some cool stuff? I've seen some cool stuff with those lights. Problem is, that stuff's pretty expensive.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, this one tiny little light, and this thing's tiny. This is the smallest 3-channel DMX light I could get at Guitar Center. It's still like $70. And it's only got 5 LEDs in it. And it's like, you know, it's the size of a Hardee's cheeseburger. You know?
Yeah.
It's tiny in comparison to the ones that, like, the ones that we have at TWE are like the size of, they're like, you know, 10 inches big. I mean, they're huge. And I've seen them get even bigger. They've got one at Guitar Center you can get right now that's like 12 feet. I mean, it's thin, you know, but it's a bar of LEDs, and it's there. That one's if I remember correctly, 5-channel. You get I'm sorry, it's 6-channel, not 5-channel, 6-channel, I think. It's got white, red, blue, green, amber, and UV. That one is nice, but it's also like $1,000. So I'm like, oh, but it's you know, you can strap that to the side of your car, man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I hate to interrupt, but I was out of the room for a bio break when you were talking. Came back and you were talking about why in programming can't you open up a MIDI file when something else was going on? And
well, it's with OBS because we use OBS at the wrestling show, right? OBS doesn't have MIDI support. And I would talk to these guys and I'd be like, hey, I will pay you to program this. And I got one of two responses. I either got nobody's going to use this, so why should I waste my time? And I'm like, because I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay you to do this. I will give you money. And then the other half was like, that's going to be a lot of work. I'm going to have to charge like hundreds of dollars an hour. And I'm like, but it doesn't even need to play audio. It just needs to open a MIDI file and play the information from a MIDI file. That should take. I'm not a programmer, but that should be easy. I would imagine that should be like 10 minutes of work. I mean,
well, it depends on how experienced your programmer is, because you've got something going on in the OBS, and I don't know. Believe me, I don't know what OBS is. But you're asking it to take a step back and initiate another process, and that's where the programming wizardry has to come in. Is how do you determine to make the damn thing step back, start something else while not interrupting the first thing?
Well, that's the beauty of OBS. See, what OBS is, Dan, is OBS is called Open Broadcasting Software.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
It's an open source computer program. I've used it on this show before. Remember when I did all the crazy effects with my video?
Yeah.
That's through OBS. Right? And what OBS does, and this is what makes OBS so cool, right, is you have scenes. And inside of the scenes, you place sources. And the sources, there's a whole litany of things that you can put in there. You can put in text. You can put in videos, you can put in pictures, you can put in music, you can capture from a window, you can capture from a piece of software specifically, like the whole software. You could do a whole entire desktop, you could do a video camera, like you can capture. and it has tons of effects that are built into it. The whole entire point is that if you do open a source, all of those elements or if you open a scene, all those elements, all the sources get loaded at the exact same time.
No, that takes up a lot of memory.
It does. But the way that the software does it, I mean, it's brilliantly run, right? And the thing about it is that, like, when I brought up, like, some people might want to play MIDIs on their show. Maybe they got a little MIDI tune they want to play, and they want it to, play through speakers or something. Like, why wouldn't that be And they were like, because you can already do that. You can play it through VLC because there's a VLC plugin that will run VLC and play any kind of formatted video, even if it's something that OBS doesn't support. Because OBS only supports a few video formats. They support like MP4, MOV, AVI, and a few select other ones. It doesn't support like MKV or like FP or Avisid or any of those other ones. But or VLF. That's the other one I was thinking of. Flash video, right? But VLC does. So they're saying, like, you could just use VLC because VLC supports MIDI, but VLC doesn't support MIDI. VLC supports playing a MIDI file through a sound font. That doesn't go through, because I need something that goes through actual MIDI, because the lighting rig software that I have for this USB light, or for the USB connector for this light, uses MIDI to control the light.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And they got it. And here's the weird part, Dan. They've got it. There is a plugin for OBS that does MIDI. Right? So somebody's already worked on this. But it's the other way around. They're using MIDI to control OBS.
You gotta reverse engineer that shit.
It's backwards. They're not playing a MIDI file. What they're doing is they're using a keyboard to switch scenes. So with OBS, right, everything that Lewis has in that box, OBS does through software, right? Now the box that Lewis has, right, it's, you don't have to run it on your computer, so you could do other stuff with it. You don't need a computer to use that box. The box is separate, and it could do a whole bunch of other really cool stuff. It's worth the money, and it's not something that if your computer gets overwhelmed, if the box isn't going to lock up on you, the box isn't going to cause you. But with OBS, stuff that the box can't do, it can do, but you can't. You can have issues. You can, things can lock up. Your video file won't play right. Certain MP3s knock your sound card out. Stuff like that. It's weird.
Yeah.
That's what you have happen with software. But what's cool about that is that for nothing, if you have enough connectors on your computer for $0, you can get basically kind of the equivalent of what Lewis, spent $400 on. The problem is that you have to have all those connections, and it doesn't work. Oh yeah, that's right. You got the version without the thing on it. You got the mini version.
Oh, you mean the ATEM? Oh yeah, that was $600. That was $595. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The version, the mini, the plain mini is $295, but this one can stream on its own. It's got its own streaming engine in it, and it can record simultaneously. As a matter of fact, the USB-C connection that's in there, I can hook up an external hard drive and record just with the press of one button.
Yeah.
All I got to do is make sure that the external hard drive is formatted exFAT. And so I'm like, well, I got 128 gigabyte thumb drive. So I, for just a couple of bucks from Amazon, ordered an adapter that makes this regular thumb drive now USB-C.
Yeah.
Plug it in and record to a thumb drive. So whenever I go do a show for somebody, I can just take and give them a copy of the show when we're done. So now they've broadcast it live and they've got a hard copy.
And Lewis, correct me if I'm wrong on this, right? You've got in front of you, because you said that thing has four connections?
Yeah, four inputs.
Four inputs. You have 4 buttons in front of you. You press one of the buttons that switches, right? You can press a button right now, switch over to your drum set view. Have another button that switches to behind you. You got another button that does something else, right?
Yeah, and if you'll notice, let me see, it's on the over the shoulder. I don't know if you can see the color of the buttons, but the red button is what's in program, and the green button is what's in preview.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, so let me zoom in here a little bit.
Zoom and tilt and
yeah, there we go.
Now,
is that focusing? No, it is not focusing.
That's
because
okay.
I have it on
colors.
Because I have it on manual focus.
Well, he's what he's talking about is that the you want to show the screen, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the screen, you can see.
Yeah, if you look at the screen, I've got preview, program, and then I've got each of the individual cameras in, and down here, I can switch around and change the view in the preview monitor. I can move that green button around and look and see which camera I want to go to next, and then I can cut to it or dissolve to it.
Yeah. And so like I was saying before, OBS can do that, right? But in order for you to be able to do that with OBS and do it very well, if you don't have the kind of equipment that Lewis has, you got to set up keyboard shortcuts, and then you got to pre-label your keyboard, and or you could just go to your closet or to Guitar Center, buy a little MIDI controller, or just use a keyboard that already has MIDI if you have a MIDI connector on your computer or a USB connection for your computer, and you could set it up through General MIDI, where you could just, if you hit low C, boom. And then if you hit the next, you have D and then E and then F and then G and A and B and C, and you could hit those buttons to switch to different cameras and different scenes.
Wrong one.
Which is super useful if you're one of these streamers that has like 8 billion different scenes that you've created, because I've got this one for when I'm reading, donations from my viewers. I've got this one when I want to actually play the game. I got this one when I want to talk to the crowd. I got this one when I want to switch to monitor 1. I got this one when I switch to monitor 2. I got this one for, when you have more than just four things that you want to show off, having a keyboard, even if it's just like a 16 key keyboard, is going to be very useful to switch all of those different scenes around. So, they have that. So I'm like, somebody has done it. Somebody's got this thing communicated with MIDI. Now, turn it the other way so I could just play a MIDI file through it. That's all I want you to do. But nobody will do it. And like I said, I've some of the programmers I talked to, because this is just C++. I talked to some of these C++ programmers who are like, yeah, it's going to be like $300-$400 an hour for me to be able to do that. I'm like, but I just want you to play a MIDI. I just want it to be able to play a MIDI file. Just load a MIDI file and play a MIDI. I don't understand what's difficult about that. Like, why is it that much? I saw somebody post online, right, that the idea that you're paying that much is because this person went to school for years to be able to learn how to do this, and they spent all this money on tuition. And so, okay, I understand that. But if I go to the guy down the street who trained his entire life working on cars to get an oil change, it's going to cost me $40, and it's going to take 10 minutes. I didn't ask him to rebuild a motor, because that's going to take several hours, and it's going to cost me way more than $40. And I'm not even just talking about based off of the hourly rate increase. I'm talking about like it's going to cost more because it's harder work. It's something that's a lot more difficult. So I don't know. And like I said, I'm not a programmer, but I've done some work in that area before, just in my own experimentation. And doing stuff with MIDI doesn't seem like it'd be that difficult. I just don't know the language.
Yeah. That's my biggest handicap when talking to computer people is I don't know the language.
No, I meant the literal language. I don't know C++.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I know one computer language, and I barely know it, and it's BASIC.
I know a little bit of one. It's called HTML.
I
Yeah,
used
well,
to
I mean,
do
a
that.
computer
Yeah, but
language.
that's actually just a markup language.
That's
That's
a
not
markup.
a.
That's
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Hypertext markup language.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have done a little C++ programming for my MIRC chat program, and it's really simple when you know what you're doing.
Yeah, for example, you just brought up MIRC, right? MIRC has its own scripting language. It's very similar, you know.
That's where the C++ comes in. That is the scripting language it uses.
I've done a little bit with ACS, which is an engine scripting language that's used in a lot of 3D video games.
I'll be back in just a minute, guys.
I was using it
in something.
Okay. I was using it in Doom because of the Doom source ports. A lot of them use that ACS. So I've used that before too. Because that's just a lot of like and or, if then sort of commands. And it's really simple to use. Like if this and this, then this, sort of thing. And that's, super simple. And I've worked with some other ones. But
that's just logic.
And you've also got, it's a lot of logic. And then you've got I've done a little bit with Java, or JavaScript rather. A little bit with JavaScript.
Java's hard. JavaScript is easy.
Yeah.
Well, it was.
And
now.
But C++. I mean, C++ is a whole other thing. And then like it doesn't even. That's the other thing too that I brought up to these guys. Like not trying to be a jerk, but I'm like, it doesn't even have to be C++. OPS supports Python. Can you just do a Python script? I mean, again, I don't know a whole lot about Python, but Python is like, from what I've seen on the internet, it's kind of like the butt of a lot of jokes because it's like one of the easiest scripting languages for people to program in. So I don't understand that. Like, why is this so hard? I don't know. Maybe somebody out there, and you know what? Actually, I'm going to click this button. If somebody out there in the world of stupid o'clock knows why programming MIDI into something is hard, please drop me a line. You can go to my Facebook page, which is Kyle Guthrie, and then in parentheses it'll say Skunk Rocker, or you can go to my Twitter account, which is @SkunkRocker, and please let me know, because I'm vastly confused as to why this is going to cost $300 to $400, or people just refuse to do it in general. Like they're just like, no, it's a waste of time. Thank you. All right, now back to our regular. Let's do some butt jokes.
Well, I can think. Well, it may not work, but off the top of my head, I could think of a hardware way to do what you want, but you have to add an extra thing like a mixer, an audio mixer, to the computer, and have a separate laptop set up to play the audio files through your mixer into. I don't even know if OBS will do that.
It doesn't work that way, but basically somebody suggested, like, why don't you play the MIDI files at the same exact time that you play the video files? And I'm like, see, that would technically work, and I would be able to do it, but we're talking about having to click two things at the same exact time.
Definitely. Otherwise, the sequencing would be off.
So we need a mod over on the YouTube channel to delete a comment.
To delete a comment?
Or unless that's something that was actually supposed to be.
I don't know who the hell that person is.
Okay, so then, yeah, we need to get those comments.
I haven't the faintest idea what powers Joe's have given me, but certainly
I have no rights
not doing
to the
anything.
YouTube channel.
Well, it sounds like it's a Joe Dog
That's
job.
the Joe Dog thing. He needs to get back here.
Someone made an inappropriate comment.
Oh, yeah. Incredibly inappropriate towards me. I don't know why.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't make the comment.
I'm being sexually harassed.
I know.
On the internet.
It's just
and
kinda,
it's gone.
Okay.
I'm being sexually harassed.
I know. It's just
Damn, I didn't get a chance to see it. I was just logging on.
Well,
Oh well.
It's over in your comment bar.
And then I was told I have no sense of humor.
Who is this? You've got.
I don't know. I have no idea who that is.
Okay,
I don't know that person.
I'm telling you now.
Oh my gosh.
You've got very few seconds to tell me who you are, and you're fixing to go into the get a band boot. Hello?
I don't know.
I don't know who it is either.
And the weird part is that like I'm trying to get more information, but like I search their username and I'm just getting a bunch of other videos. I have no idea what that's all about.
Well, it's been removed from YouTube, and
no idea what that was.
Your time is your time is up. And now they are now hidden. We have a record of this, but
I don't know. So I'm doing the deep dive here into finding out what the hell that was all about. They have 2 videos that were up excuse me, that were uploaded 4 months ago.
All right.
Where they're like messaging people on Facebook, and I don't know.
I just saw that first one come in and I was just like, wait, am I really reading? Oh, wow.
I have no idea what that was about.
And that's the thing. I don't have YouTube up. I can't even imagine.
I'm looking at, like I said, they've only got 2 videos up, and they're very weird. And no, the description of their YouTube channel is just, I'm a anime lover and I love to cook. If you like either of these things, let's be friends. What? Well, I'm sorry, whoever you are, but anime sucks. I can't say that. I've watched a few animes that I liked.
Oh, I've watched several trying to research fantasy stories.
Oh, Skunk. Something that I discovered accidentally on this mixer.
Oh, yeah?
If you hit auto transition, if you hit it in the middle of the transition, it'll do a partial fade. See that?
Cool.
Yeah. You have like a ghosting effect.
Well, you gotta do it quick. Let's see. I'm gonna do it longer. Yeah. Kind of like a 1970s family portrait.
Yeah, double exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if I had the software up on the screen, I could do it because they've actually got a T-bar, just like on a real video switcher, and you can just drag the T-bar down to the amount of dissolve you want. But you can do it with just the button, just by hitting it mid transition. Same thing with a wipe.
I'm reminding you, Donna's Night Medicine.
See, that looks more like the 1970s family portraits.
Oh crap!
I'm reminding you.
So you need the left to right wipe, and then do it like halfway.
Let's see. All right, I'll get over here and.
Well, I would say do the other way.
Yeah.
Right to left. I said left to right because I'm thinking like stage left.
Yeah. Oh, I could just do a push.
Hi, Carl.
See, that's not going to work though because it's cutting it off at the wrong spot. Oh, do it now. Do the push now, and it should be good. But no,
crap!
No,
I'm just in the wrong side of the screen all the
have
time.
a skinny head now. But I was gonna say if you did the push when you were on your face, if you did the push, then it would line up. But you have to be on. Yeah, you have to be on your face.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. That works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we get double the Lewis for the price of one.
Hey, do we have to pay taxes on this?
I am. No, there's no VAT. I've been watching a lot of Jimmy Carr, if you can't tell. No, Carl, you missed it. I was sexually harassed about 6 minutes ago, and you weren't here. Since I can still see it, because I can still see it in StreamYard, part of me wants to take a picture of it.
Yes, the rocket launched, Carl.
I kind of want to take, like I said, I kind of want to take a picture of the horrible things somebody said to me and post them on Twitter, but I also don't want to encourage this individual.
Well, yeah, screenshots are a thing, but are they a good thing?
Actually, you know what? I am going to screenshot that and send it to my friend, though, because they'll get it.
Hey,
Blake, was that you sexually harassing me on YouTube?
Oh yes, all the time. Yes, I don't know what we're talking about, but yes, of course I sexually harassed you.
Somebody sexually harassed me on YouTube. I'm not even joking. It's just happened like 8 minutes ago.
I screened it. Do you want?
No,
I already took a picture of it.
Point of order. Point of order. Okay, I understand sexual harassment, but when it's a guy that's the victim, shouldn't it be sexual harassment?
Exactly.
That's
Heather liked that one.
That was a Heather.
I got a chuckle out of Heather.
I wasn't in the brand. I'm sorry.
That was a horror laugh that just happened. That was the
yeah, you did, Carl, because it was on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. The kids got to arguing, and I had to break it up.
Which kids? 4-legged or 2-legged?
The 4-leggeds.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of the 4-leggeds, what about preggers? She dropped those pups yet?
I'm looking at about Sunday or Monday of delivery.
I'll believe it when I see it.
You ought to see her now.
I think she's just been eating extra food and lying to you.
Should have used UPS when it absolutely has to be delivered next day.
That's FedEx, but anyway.
Yeah, that's
okay. Well,
yeah, and Carl, yeah, you missed a doozy.
Well, he even then Dan got the quote wrong too. I want to point that out because I'm a stickler for those sort of things.
Oh well, I do that all the time.
Absolutely, positively has to be there overnight.
And that hasn't
been
eons either.
I believe the founder of FedEx got a C, either a C or a D, in his business economics class when he came up with the idea, the business model for FedEx. Yeah. The professor said it would never work. And that's why the saying goes, those who can do, those who can't teach.
Yep.
You gotta be careful with saying that though, Lewis. We know a lot of teachers. They'll get very upset with us.
What they're going to give you an F?
I'm a regular lecturer at Chat State and have been offered to teach high school, and I'm like, no.
I do want to point out, right? I do want to point out that because I think I'm a stickler for these sort of things. That slogan, it absolutely positively has to be there overnight, was not FedEx. It was the original name of the company, Federal Express.
Federal Express.
Yes. Remember when they had the fastest talking man in the world was the spokesman for. He was the spokesman for two companies. He was the spokesman for Federal Express, and he was the spokesman for Micro Machines. But in Micro Machines, he had he was boisterous about it. He was like, "No, from No, from Mattel micro machines that are tiny little cars that you're going to be able to blah, 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 and he would go off, right? When he did the Federal Express commercials, though, he was monotone. He was the whole entire time. "Oh, it has to be over. The pups get there. It has to be there absolutely overnight." And he was like, "What just happened?"
That's about right.
Void where prohibited by law.
We had this great game when I was a kid. We never figured. I don't think my family ever figured out how to play it properly, but it was a VCR game called Crazy Commercials. And it was a board game. You were supposed to move around the board and get points, and eventually there'd be a winner, right? But while you were playing, you had a VHS tape inside your VCR that was playing along with you. It basically what you do is you'd answer trivia questions about the commercials that you were watching, and the cards had to be in a certain order because the commercials played in a certain order. And in there was everything. Whereas the beef was in there. You had the Federal Express. You had there was actually a couple of Federal Express commercials, but his commercial was one of them. And then they had another Federal Express commercial. They had a couple of different Wendy's commercials. They also had another commercial that I don't remember. I remember the joke. I don't remember what the brand was, but the joke was they were making fun of communist countries, and they were having it was a communist country fashion show. Right. And the whole entire joke was it didn't matter what they said. The woman who was, this very, very Greta looking woman, just big, boisterous Russian woman. Right. And everybody talked with an accent. So the guy would be all like, "First is evening wear." And then she'd come out. She's wearing it's just a communist army uniform.
Yeah.
Next is fall wear, and then she'd come out again, and then next is it's bedroom wear or whatever. They kept saying different things. He'd come out wearing the same thing every time, and at the very end he goes, "And next, swimwear," and he gets this big smile on his face. She comes out, same outfit, she's carrying a beach ball. I love that.
I actually remember that, and I don't know who it was for.
I don't know what that was for either. It was hilarious.
And it wasn't a very effective ad campaign.
Well, I remember I
would have done well with that game, but my wife is a marketer's worst nightmare. She can never remember what a commercial was for, what the product was.
God, I remember. Like I said, I remember the commercial. I don't remember what it was for, but I remember the commercial. And hell, there were so many Federal Express commercials on the thing. That's probably just another Federal Express commercial. We used to watch. Me and my sister used to watch that tape all the time, just because the commercials were great. Right in the game, the commercials are hilarious.
My wife and her kids have a videotape copy of Con Air. And they love to rewatch it over and over again, and they won't watch the same movie on Netflix or anything because it doesn't have the commercials that they have watched over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I got a friend, Dan. This is something we do. This is something we do at Scrub House. Occasionally, we'll throw up a movie on the stream. It's not during our regular movie nights. This is just for fun, just for giggles. We'll throw up a movie, and it's an original TV recording of whatever that film is, complete with the commercials from the time period. So it's just from end to end. And oh man, it's so great, especially because a lot of this stuff aired when I was a kid. To see one of the commercials on one of these things was, I've totally forgot that this existed. It was David Arquette's Call AT&T commercials. For the collect calls, CALLATT. We were dying because if I remember correctly, the movie we were watching was Scream. So he's in the movie and he's in the commercials. We were cracking up. We would also throw on other things too. We'd throw on old wrestling, and there'd be the commercials there. We'd be watching it. It's you'd be in the middle of wrestling and be like, "We're going to be right back to WCW Monday Nitro." And it'd immediately go to a Slim Jim commercial with Macho Man. "Oh, yeah, you're going to snap into a Slim Jim." And it's hilarious because you don't see that stuff anymore.
No.
in 1986 or 1987, I took a VHS tape and dedicated it to the Christmas special. So every time a Christmas special would come on, I'd record it. And I mean, like 86 and 87, they had commercials for the California Raisins. They had the Noelco Santa on the
it's
the
not
electric
Christmas
razor
to the Norelco Santa.
Yeah,
slide down the hill.
So and what's great is years later, you know, the first few years that we used to watch it, I would fast forward past the commercials. But now the commercials are so nostalgic, you want to watch them too. And I've since had it transferred to a DVD. So
I'll tell you what we had on DVD that we made, and of course now we can't find it, which is a nightmare for us. But
yeah,
we found out that DirecTV was going to show the original WGN Yule log. Right. And then, of course, we found out later that's not actually the original. That's the famous one. The original Yule log was in black and white. But this was the color one from the 70s. Oh, my dad grew up with Yule log. He loved Yule log. We had to get this. So it was 4 hours of Christmas music and Yule log, right? Yeah. And we had that on a DVD. And it kills my dad. He can't find it anymore. Well, I remember the first year he couldn't find it. We sparked up because we have Dish Network. We had Dish Network at the time. He sparked up Dish Network and found out Dish Network had their own Yule log. And he put it on. He had it on for about 5 minutes. And he went, I hate it. It's not the same because it wasn't the one he grew up with, you know? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we had to, that day, it was Christmas Day a few years ago. We scoured YouTube until we found log. It took forever, but we finally got our log. And we never found that. That's the thing. We never found that DVD. That's still killing my father. He doesn't know where the Yule log DVD went. We found all of our episodes of the Twilight Zone we recorded when they did that. Remember they did the... Joe, you remember that Sci-Fi Channel did the big Twilight Zone marathon where they were to show
every New Year's Eve.
No, this was back when they first did it. Every episode of the Twilight Zone in a row, out of order.
Yeah.
What they did was Sci-Fi. This was back when they were Sci-Fi, like SCI.
When they were the good Sci-Fi, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sci-Fi. You went to sci-fi.com. And you voted on what your favorite episodes of the Twilight Zone were. And they got the list and they did them in order. They started with the best episodes. So, of course, what's the first episode? You know, Terror at 20,000 feet.
Oh, it was? I figured it'd be Time Enough at Last.
Time Enough at Last was in the top 10. I remember that because it was Terror at 20,000 feet and then Talking Tina. Oh, God, I'm trying to remember what the third one was. I think the third one was, oh, God, I don't remember the title, but it's the one with the boy.
Oh, with Billy Newmy?
Yeah, you know, sent him out to the cornfield.
Yeah.
I remember that my absolute favorite episode was in like the top 50. I was really happy about that. Which is by The Invaders. And your favorite episode, I believe, Joe, was in the top 25, 5 characters in search of an exit. I believe that was in the top 25.
What was your first episode that you remember of the Twilight Zone?
Of Twilight Zone?
Yeah, the first episode you remember.
First episode I remember ever watching, I think. I want to say Time Enough at Last, but I feel like that's wrong. Oh, it's oh God, you look like number 11.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Lewis, do you remember?
No, Joe, I'm wrong. It's the plastic surgery episode where she gets the plastic surgery and she's like, "Oh, I'm finally beautiful," and then everybody else turns out to be hideous, and she freaks out, and they're all like, "God, she's ugly. What's wrong with her?" And it's that whole entire thing about perception. That's the first episode of Twilight Zone I ever remember seeing.
Oh, God.
I don't remember the first one that I ever saw.
I remember the first one. It was 100 Years Over the Rim.
Ah, very good episode.
Channel 12 on their anniversary, like 25th anniversary, played that episode.
When
they had a nostalgia day of the day they actually came on the air. 100 years they came on the air, and that was it. And then just yesterday, I put on YouTube on the TV because my back was giving me a fit, and I didn't even get out of the bed yesterday. So I just watched YouTube all day. There was it was like the War of the Worlds type thing tribute that CBS did. It was a news report of incoming meteors.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after it played the NBC version of that special bulletin. Do you remember that one, Lewis?
Mm-hmm.
About the terrorist in South Carolina, Charleston.
Yeah.
With the nuclear bomb in the Charleston Harbor. So that was in your early years of broadcasting, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
Did I want to ask this real quick? Did I ever talk about Monsters, the TV show?
No.
It was another anthology horror show. Monsters was so Twilight Zone, for the most part, was pretty serious. And then you had like Tales from the Crypt was like you had Night Gallery, which was basically like Twilight Zone but in color. And then you had Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt was like Twilight Zone if we had an R rating and a better budget, right?
Yeah.
And then you had a bunch of other ones. You had, there was Freddy's Nightmares, which was like, oh, what if it was the Twilight Zone, but it was Freddy Krueger instead of Rod Serling? That was basically just there. And more 80s, more sleazy, show us boobs, sort of thing. Monsters was like if Twilight Zone was a comedy, because the whole entire thing it was a dark comedy. It was a horror comedy show. Because they would put people in these situations, you're supposed to laugh at them, right? And there was one episode that stuck with me for so many years. I loved it. And it was about these people that were in a bunker after Armageddon, right? We had nuclear winter, and they're stuck inside this bunker, and they can't leave because they're waiting for the all call that everything's clear, the fallout's gone, and that they can come out of the bunker, right? But while they're waiting, people are like trying to get in, and they're freaking out because they're like, nobody out there should be alive. And then they start noticing that there's people congregating around the bunker trying to get in, and they're freaking out, right? And they eventually establish contact with another bunker, and those people are freaking out too because they're having the same exact problem. People are trying to get in, and they're like, no, don't go out. But they finally decide, you know what, we need to get together because we're going to be running out of food and supplies and stuff soon. We're going to need each other's help in order to survive this. But every time somebody goes outside, they become one of the people that are outside, and they can't get in now because they're all whatever, right? And it's pretty obvious. They, spoiler alert here, it's vampires. There's a vampire dude who's turning anybody who comes out into the nuclear winter is turning them into vampires. So it comes down to the very end. There's two guys left, and the one guy's like, I'm going out there. I'm going out there. I gotta go for help because we don't have anybody else. It's just us at this point. You go out that door, I'm not letting you back in. And he goes, I understand that. It's fine. I take the risk, but we need to go for help. He's like, if you leave, that's it. The guy's like, it's gonna be all right. And he leaves. And time passes. And all of a sudden, the dude's back at the door, and he's pounding on the door. He's like, let me in. Come on, these people out here are crazy. They're trying to kill me. And he's like, no, I told you, dude. If you leave, I'm not letting you back in. He's like, no, please, you got to help me. You don't understand. Like they're monsters out here. They're totally psycho. You got to let me back in. He goes, I warned you, man. If you leave, I'm not letting you back in. And then the guy gets this really evil smile on his face and leans over the control pad and goes, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 1. 0. I have all eternity to figure out the passcode to this door. And it just zooms in on the guy's face as he's like, oh, shit. And it's one of the funniest, most horrific things ever. Like, no blood in the entire episode, and it chilled me. I was like, oh, damn, that's, wow. If you think about it, vampires have forever.
Now, I was always more fond of the Twilight or
I remember
Outer
seeing
Limits
that,
than
Skunk.
it was Twilight Zone. So.
Yeah, it was a very Outer Limits sort of thing. Outer Limits was Twilight Zone, but sci-fi.
Yeah,
Twilight Zone had sci-fi episodes, but Outer Limits had some outer. You know, I love
Outer Limits was mostly sci-fi.
I love the Twilight Zone opening, but you got to give it up to the Outer Limits. We are controlling transmission.
Yep.
I used to watch a VHS tape of the episodes I've recorded off of TV on a green screen computer monitor. It was just green and black.
Monochrome.
That was it.
The monochrome green phosphorus.
Yeah. And it was awesome. Now it didn't work out with some of the other movies that I was watching, sort of things like Falcon and the Saint, but these were old stuff before the TV series. So, but they were in black and white to start with, so they translated well.
Yeah.
Anything in actual color did not translate that well.
Now, here's one of the things I love about the Outer Limits specifically, right? Is that became a cultural touchstone and nobody really remembers. Like we remember it, you know, and it affected a lot of people. People know that we are controlling transmission. You know, they remember seeing the oscilloscope lines, the sine wave at the very beginning, and how the frequency would, you know, adjust as they were messing, you know, because they were messing around with the frequency on the oscilloscope while they were recording that and had the voiceover and all that. People remember that. They don't remember the Outer Limits. They never talk about it. They always talk about Twilight Zone. They always talk about Tales from the Crypt. Nobody ever talks about the Outer Limits. And I love that. That's that underground stuff that it's like, if you know, you know. And that's cool. One of the great things about that is that I remember watching the Outer Limits when I was a kid, because it would come on, you know, it would come on late at night or on like Sci-Fi or something like that. And I remember watching it. It's like, oh, this is super cool. It's like the Twilight Zone, but with like lasers, right? But the first time I ever knew what the show was called, right? It knew what was going on with it was in the movie Hackers. Because at the very beginning of the movie, the one dude hacks into the TV station and cuts off the obviously Rush Limbaugh inspired political pundit. He tells him to get a job too, which I think is hilarious. He cuts that dude off in order to play an episode of The Outer Limits on the TV. And I was like, hey, I know that show. Oh, it's The Outer Limits. That's what it's called. Okay. It's one of those things. You got to be in the know, man. It's underground. Why did we lose Dan? Turn his camera off.
Maybe he's pooping.
Yeah, he does that to take off.
Carly, you missed it earlier. I got sexually harassed in chat. That's what happened. Carl's making a joke. Don't worry about it.
I wonder if it's the same person from our other show.
I don't know.
Maybe it's an ongoing thing.
You had another harasser on another show?
During HalloCon, there were some people in Twitch that were putting inappropriate content.
Yeah,
that's Twitch, though.
Yeah, that's Twitch. No, we had the one with the weird spelling last week.
Yeah.
Oh God, I totally forgot about that. What was?
Yeah. Something about effed up stuff.
Yeah,
something like that. It's been a minute.
And that was the thing. Me and Lewis were sitting there deciphering it. They did that on purpose. They spelled it that way on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that you would have to read it. You had to read it phonetically in order to understand what it said, right? It's basically kind of a way of being like, hey, I could post this. You can't ban me because I technically didn't break the rules. Dude. This is not this is a freedom of speech zone, not a free speech zone. There's a difference.
Oh, yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
lady and gentlemen,
Yes.
Yes.
what's
Some
going on?
company in the show.
The GoPro has completely given up the ghost on me.
Killed it.
Gone
I
and
killed
murdered it.
Damn, Lewis.
I don't know.
Is battery dead?
Just can't trust me. No, I checked. I've got 90% left on this
What?
on this power pad.
You know what's, Lewis? You know, I think what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take that camera that you're currently using that's behind you and move it in front of you.
Well, I did that one time, and it's so freaking big I couldn't see you guys.
I don't know. Hey, he's back.
It's not overheat. I mean, it's warm, but it's not overheated.
That's our question. Is the battery dead? Did you kill the battery?
It shouldn't matter because I had it plugged into a USB. Should have been powering from that. But you know what? You have a point. Even though I've got it plugged into USB, maybe it's just pulling off the battery. Maybe it can't pull off of USB for, auxiliary power.
I want to point out that I had, and this is true. I convinced the owner of this was my screw up. I convinced the owner of TWE to buy 2 video cameras from a friend of ours. It was mostly to help out our friend. It wasn't really because, hey, this is a good, wise investment. It was really just to help out this dude. So we bought 2 video cameras for $150 off this guy. These were supposed to be like $230 cameras. We were getting them used. But, they still worked. Got everything that came with them. Came with some cards and everything. I mean, it was a pretty good deal. And plus, we were helping out our buddy. They get the cameras, and I discovered 2 things about the cameras when I was using them, testing them out and stuff. One, they do not record in MP4, and there's no way to make them record in MP4. They only record in AVSID, and that's it. So you're stuck using Sony's proprietary format, which is an absolute pain in the butt to work with in Premiere, and I hate it. And it desyncs audio all the freaking time because it's a bad format and on that, right? But also, you can't plug it in. You charge the battery through USB, but if you plug the USB in to a power source to charge it, you also can't run the camera at the same exact time. It will literally tell you camera is plugged in, cannot view video. So that prevents you from, you can charge the battery, but you can't run the camera off the USB in order to not have a battery in there or to to run it through, because I want to have it connected to the AC adapter because I want to use it to record while it's sitting on a tripod and I'm not touching.
Can you take the battery out? Can you take the battery out and plug the USB in?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, the battery out, it dies entirely.
Because some of them have the little trip, like where you can. Yeah, that's.
Well, the Lumix that I'm using, the Lumix that I'm using right now, I just ordered, and I always thought these things were really expensive. The battery replacement AC adapter, that allows you to plug this thing into the battery compartment to power it. I always thought those were extremely expensive. It was like $14 from Amazon, so I just got it in a couple of days ago, and that's what I'm using right now on this camera. So. And I used it on my Nikon. I bought one for my Nikon D5100. It works, but unfortunately, I didn't realize it. But the Nikon is a mirrored camera. It is a true DSLR.
Yeah.
And you can't use it for live video. You can record with it, but you can't use it as a webcam or use it for live video. So
now. Yeah, that's a lot of people ask me about that, and I tell them, I'm like, if you want to do live video, you have to go mirrorless. Yeah. Because the other one is with a mirror, even if it's a digital camera, right? It can only record, not transmit at the same exact time. You have to go mirrorless. And they look at me funny, and they're like, my buddy, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, he has a cinema camera. And that's a totally different thing.
Yeah. But that's the camera I'm talking about. My D5100.
I was going to say that's a D50 something.
Yeah, D5100. I got that because it had a microphone input, and I really needed one.
From the little bit of it that I could see there, I was going to guess D53.
I'll be back. I gotta take my dog out.
And then all your Saints memorabilia.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've been watching,
and they're going to kick the shit out of the Falcons Sunday.
I've been watching this video series.
How are your meds working?
Don't speak
how's your eye and your ear?
Ear terrible still. Still half deaf. Eye better, super red, but I can see out of it.
So I've been watching this series of videos on YouTube of this guy who's been he ranks NES games from different. He's like the Chemco company published 13 NES games, and we're going to rank them into tiers. S tier, A tier, B tier, etc. Right, all the way down to F for failure. And he would do all the LJN games and the Konami games and the Ultra games, even though that's also Konami. He's pointing out, it's two different brands, so it makes my job easier. Blah blah blah. And he's very entertaining. He's from Seattle, so every single time he brings up any sports games, he has to put on a piece of Seattle merchandise for whatever sports team he's talking about. So if he's talking about NFL, right? He'll put on a Seahawks jersey. If he's talking about baseball, he'll put on a Mariners cap. Then he's talking about basketball, he put on a Supersonics cap. He's always talking about Seattle. And then it was really funny about it was when he was talking about the 80s. He was talking about because he's NES games. He was he was talking about the baseball one. He's like, I don't know why anybody would want to play as the Mariners in the 1980s. They sucked. It's I'm glad you're a fan, but you're also realistic.
Hey, now the Mariners in the 80s farm team was the Chattanooga Lookout, so hey.
Yeah. You grew a bunch of suckers too.
Hey, Joe, I didn't say it. John, whatever his name is on YouTube said it. Don't blame me. I'm a Cubs fan.
He's just reporting the news, not creating it.
Exactly.
Well, nowadays,
And I think to me, they all suck because they're not the Cubs. Go Cubbies.
I was a Sandberg era Cubbies fan.
I don't know who that is.
Lewis, you may remember.
Yeah, not a fanatic.
Ryan
you may
Sandberg
remember
played in the
this
80s and early 90s.
From the Braves. You were sort of a Braves fan, right?
I've never really followed baseball, although the year that I moved here was when the Braves made it to the World Series.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it was the next year, but anyway.
Okay. Well, it was back in the bad old days of the Braves when you could bet on a few things if the sun was going to come up and the Braves were going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing the Pirates, and there was a full-blown bench clearer. They ejected half the teams from it. We went down the next night to watch it, and that's when, if you remember Glenn Hubbard.
Nope.
Glenn Hubbard had a beard like Blake's got.
Yeah, mine has to go away. I got in trouble for it finally.
Yeah. Well, his beard, because of his beard, he was known for he had red hair, had this big red beard. All of a sudden, they called him out of the dugout, and everybody went, "Hey, Hubbard, where's the beard?" Because he was clean shaved. Nobody even knew who he was.
Yeah, I finally got to trim mine down.
They got over to you?
Yeah, I'm beyond length by 3 inches. It's like a 4.5 inch beard right now. So it has to be less than 1.5 inches.
Hey, here's your excuse, COVID.
I was going
to,
even though I'm not religious, I was going to claim religious values on my beard.
I
let your curl your bangs or right in front of your ears, and dare them to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you might have to shave your mustache to make it work though, and that would be anathema.
I do want to point out something that my dad said today. I was hanging out with him earlier, and he was talking about the fact that he's been getting promoted so much at his work, because people keep. He's the only like one of the only dependable guys they got down there at his company, and it got to the point where he said that more than likely they're probably going to end up putting him in the position where they're going to be like, well, we kind of need you because we got rid of all these other people. We need somebody that can do this specific type of delivery. So you got to get trained on how to deliver this stuff. And this stuff's called microtox. And it's this super, unbelievably basic chemical that if it gets in contact with anything, like if they spear one of these containers with a forklift by accident, they got to shut the plant down for 3 days while they clean up the mess, because it requires a whole hazmat team to come in. This stuff will literally eat your flesh. Like, I've been around this stuff while it was inside of containers, inside of a airproof, like a pressurized vault. And this stuff was just in containers. They have air conditioners and heaters running inside of this room to keep it at an exact temperature, because it can't get any hotter or any colder. It has to be this exact temperature. This stuff freaks out. And I could feel the sweat on my skin. It's all in plastic containers. I could feel the sweat on my skin burn being around this stuff. Just breathing the air around where the containers were. Not even this stuff directly. Just the permeation of this stuff coming through the plastic containers was making my lungs hurt. This stuff's nasty stuff. And in order for my dad to be able to deliver this stuff and install it and everything and sell it to the customers and everything like he's supposed to, they're talking about that he's going to have to learn how to wear a hazmat suit and he's going to have to wear a respirator. And he said, look, I'll shave. If you absolutely need me to do this job, I will shave so I can wear a respirator. But the goat stays. He's got this goatee. He's been growing for years. He's got this long goatee. It's like a foot long. This Fu Manchu style goatee. It's like, it stays. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll braid it up, curl it around, and stick it inside of that mask. But if it doesn't seal, it doesn't seal. There's nothing I can do about it. It's like, because the goatee is not going anywhere. And he says boss was laughing at him when he said that. Or I guess laughing with him. He thought it was funny. But yeah, some places do require you to cut your facial hair off for safety reasons.
I worked for FedEx Services, and aka Kinko's, aka FedEx office, and it's an inch and a I'm gonna say inch and a half because it's an inch at the curl of the hair of the beard. So I'm well beyond that by 3 times. So
I'm so glad. I'm so glad I'm not working at one of those places. So glad I'm not working in one of those places, because I thought about it. I thought that'd be a really great job for me to work at. To work in a FedEx office or an Office Depot or Staples or something in their print department, because I love to print and I know how to print things.
It's a job, and
sit there. I would hate to sit there and have to explain to some person no, I need to know what the DPI of the file is. I know you don't know what DPI is. You should have figured it out before you showed up here, you jackass. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. I really wouldn't. My brain would explode if I had to deal with anybody at all that I had to sit there and explain margins to.
Yeah, it's pretty much every day. That's why I'm medicated now.
Well, I had to go.
That's why I had to go to Office
Depot day before yesterday to get something printed. And I think they were shocked that I actually knew what I was talking about. I said, I need some kind of substantial stock for this because it's going to be mounted in a shadow box. So I said, do you have some 110-pound index or maybe 120-pound chrome coat? And they were like, he speaks our language. He speaks our language.
It's not really their.
I want to point out
language.
I want to point out,
you shocked them with big words, I think.
I want to point this out, Lewis. The exact opposite happened to my friend Audrey, who runs Scrub House Video Club with me. They went to go get something printed out, and it printed out incorrectly. It was labels for VHS tapes. went to go get it printed out at an Office Depot, and he said when they got printed out wrong, they said they got printed out wrong. Turned around, handed it to the guy, and was like, "These are wrong." The guy's like, "Yeah, the problem is with your file." And Audrey was like, "You don't understand. I've literally had the same exact file printed out here before, and it didn't print out wrong. You did something wrong, and I know what I'm doing, so no, fix it." And the guy's like, no, the problem's with your file. Problems with your file, obviously. Like, I've never made a mistake in my life. And it's like, do you see how pixelated this is? You did something wrong. Mm-hmm. So Audrey leaves after this guy pisses them off. Audrey drives down the street, goes to a Staples, walks in there, hands him the flash drive. They printed it out correctly. And then, just because Audrey's that level of jerk, and I love it, drove back over to Office Depot and said, "Same file." And showed it to the guy. The guy was like,
it happens both ways. Yeah.
Like, so you sometimes do get idiots in the print department. And sometimes
sometimes get idiots everywhere.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, I worked for several years for printing companies, and I tell you, I'll go into a print shop now, and man, I'll smell the Varn and the ink, and it just takes me immediately back, and I kind of miss it. But back when I was working in a print shop, I was pre-press. Now, what?
We are intercontinental.
Awesome. Croatia.
Croatia.
If we're intercontinental, I'll be who should I be? I'll be Jake the Snake Robertson. No, wait, he didn't win the Intercontinental Championship.
Hello,
Ryan.
Yeah, hello, Ryan.
I actually have relatives from there.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, you are our first intercontinental viewer. Welcome. You get a special star on our board. We'll write your name on the board and put a big special gold star right beside it. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh, Croatia.
Did you see that, Skunk?
I saw it. Yeah, Croatia.
Our first intercontinental. Yeah. Okay. Back to the printer's ink.
Yeah. So, but I was pre-press, and this was back in the 80s before desktop publishing was as widely available as it is. So I used to do typesetting, layout. I used to shoot PMTs, negatives. I would strip the negatives up for the press. And so back then it was so manually intensive that it was fun. Now everything's done on a computer and you get bug-eyed. See, if I got tired of typesetting after a while, I'd go do some layout. Run a Gallia type through the wax machine and get on the light table and do some layout and get creative that way. And it rested my eyes, But nowadays, every single thing's done on the same screen.
Yeah.
I used to work in a photo lab.
Mm-hmm.
I got to deal with all of that printing.
Let me guess, Olin Mills?
I've worked for all three of them.
There's a lot of people in this area that have worked for Olin Mills.
Advanced Photography. I was working for Olin Mills when they got shut down.
That
was your fault.
Mm-hmm. No, they got bought out by Life Touch.
There's a company.
Life Touch was just like, okay, we're going to let everything go on as normal. 3 months later, we're shutting you down.
Mm-hmm.
There's a company I tried to get a job at. My buddy used to work for. And I tried to get a job there. It's called South Tree. What they did was that they did restorations of like old photographs, VHS tapes, reel-to-reel, everything. And I put it in an application. I put in my resume. I even sent in my portfolio. Like, I work with everything. When it comes to digital files, I work with everything. I work with audio. I work with video. I work with still photography. If it's something that needs to be restored, I know how to do it. I'm the guy that y'all need to hire for reals, right? I didn't even hear back from them. I asked my buddy about it. He was like, yeah, they're kind of temperamental. And I'm like, really? They don't need to be, because every single week they have another advertisement on Indeed. Well, we need employees. No experience required. I have experience.
Oh, that means they just wanted to pay pissant prices.
No, they wanted to hire you from here down.
Do you understand?
I think I understand what you're saying, Joe. I think I understand what you're saying.
From here down.
Yeah,
they don't want to pay for your expertise.
Body, they didn't want a mind.
I already had that, Joe. When I'm sure complained about this on here before. Gonna complain about it again. When I went to that temp agency, and they were like, "Oh, you work with like art programs, Photoshop, InDesign, Premiere, stuff like that. You know the Adobe suite, so you're pretty good with artwork." And I said, "Yeah, like, well, there's a print shop that needs help, so I work at the print shop." I was like, "Perfect, that's exactly what I want to do. That sounds great." And I get over there, right, and I was moving pallets. And I'm sitting there, and I even told the guy when I got over there, I was like, when they said I was coming over here to work at a print shop, I thought I was going to be like, you know, adjusting layouts, and we're going to keep
don't move themselves.
And you know, as I remember the exact quote I told the dude, right, and I still love this line when I came up with it. I'm like, me working back here in the warehouse, moving around pallets of pieces of wood and lumber is the equivalent of y'all hiring a brain surgeon to mop the floors of the hospital. You're wasting valuable talent here. I don't understand. And then that place got shut down because of COVID anyway. But every time I'm driving through that Dalton area and I see one of those one source printing company trucks, I give it the fingers.
Now,
Dan just got us an R rating.
What'd he do?
Well, you have to put up a warning now. Rated R includes smoking.
I've been smoking on this show. I've been smoking and drinking.
Yeah, but you
what? Well,
never mind. You're right. You're right. You got me.
And Lewis, you know where I used to work.
Yeah.
And, I know where you used to work.
They actually told us we hired you from here down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how a lot of places are.
Yeah, that's the way to inspire people.
Oh yeah.
Ryan, I'm going. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. This is a think thing. However, I have heard that it's the Philippines. My uncle was actually in the Philippines for a while. He did a long vacation there while he got some dental work done, and he was talking about the fact that like he showed up with like 10 grand, and he left with like 9 grand, and he was there for like 7 months.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
No. So I actually took that to heart. Every time we went to have a staff meeting or a safety meeting, I always brought a bag of popcorn.
We used to, when I worked for a certain company, I'm not going to name the company because one of the people involved still works there. So I'm not going to name the company. But we would have to do phone calls where everybody that worked for that particular branch, or worked in the 2 departments, I was in one department, these other guys were in the other department, we'd have to get on a conference call. Normally, these conference calls are done while we're already working. So we just have to stop everything we're doing, get on the conference call. Okay. That's easy. One day they had a conference call on a Saturday. So everybody had to get up at like 9 o'clock in the morning and get on this conference call on a Saturday. And I remember what the conference call was about. And it was really controversial. So I'm not going to get into it here, but it was really stupid. Let's just say it was in 2012. put two and two together. So, actually, let me back that up. It was in October of 2012. Again, put two and two together. So, while we're on the conference call, nobody's saying anything. Nobody's talking. They keep saying every once in a while, the boss will go, "Are there any questions?" Okay, good. So we're moving on to our next point. Well, at the end of the call, obviously everybody starts to hang up, right? And stuff. But at the very end, we hear the boss man hang up. And we could tell he hung up because he had a fan in the background. So his phone hangs up. And one of the other guys on the line is like, "Hey, so-and-so, you still there?" And he goes, "Yeah, I hadn't hung up yet." This is my buddy. He goes, "Yeah, I haven't hung up yet. What?" And he's like, "I sat here on this entire conference call this whole damn time and I haven't been wearing pants." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm having a cigar and a beer in my boxer shorts." And then I got on the line and was like, "Yeah, I'm having a cigarette and a beer. I'm at least wearing pants." And then we all just started talking. Everybody was still on the line except for the boss. So we all started talking about the fact that every single one of us were day drinking. Every single one of us was smoking something. Some people were smoking illicit substances. Like, everybody was just getting just destroyed. Oh, man. It was hilarious. I was talking about the fact that, like, we're having a conference call at 9 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's lit. Like, none of us.
That's kind of the only way to have a conference call. If they let me have one that way, I'd be a much happier employee.
That was the thing. Before the conference call started, because we knew what time the conference call was going to start, right? So I got up at like 8 a.m. and already was the first thing I did when I woke up that morning was grab a beer.
Hair of the dog, yeah.
Wake and bake.
I know a bunch of the guys on the call talked about that. They were talking about the fact that they got up there because we were doing this little private conference call at the end. The first thing they did when they woke up was, "I woke up, lit a bowl."
Yeah. Deal with this shit. Sorry. Stuff.
Yeah.
We're not
And, I tell you guys what. As much fun as all of this is, I have some unfortunate news.
Can I do a dance before?
Yeah, sure. You can do a dance for it.
Yeah, the dance.
It's almost the end of the show.
Yeah.
Programming announcement. I am going to be camping this weekend in Helen, Georgia. If I can get a good Wi-Fi signal out, I will be participating. If not, I will not.
Okay, so we will come up with a news report. And we're going to have to put out an APB on John.
Yeah, I'm worried about him now.
Yeah, no, I just realized.
Lewis, you will be in my backyard.
Yeah. Well, not too far.
No, seriously, he has a lot of property. He might be in his backyard.
Well, Dad did buy a lot of farmland. I mean,
yeah, John has not even seen the notification for tonight's show.
If you walk up on a Shiner, walk away.
The last time John did anything on Facebook was 4 hours ago, according to Facebook. And he posted a lot of stuff 4 hours ago. Right? He posted a thing about he posted an MSN link, he posted a Babylon B link, and he posted a link from the most combat engineer man in the world. I don't know what that is, a Facebook group. So he did post some stuff 4 hours ago, but that would be 2 hours before our show.
Well, you know how I have a habit of nodding off? Maybe he took a nap.
Maybe.
Part of me wants to call him, but I don't have his phone.
I don't have his phone number either, or I would.
I also don't want to be that guy. If he is sleeping, I don't want to wake him up.
Well, here might be this may be the problem.
So
yes, Carl,
swear
I
that looks
made it
like Blake.
longer.
Yeah, it's me.
Yes, Carl, I got it to 30
that's
seconds.
what you need. That's what you need for the meetings.
I'll show you guys on the after show. Well, I'm worried about John now.
We're all worried about John.
Fine, I'll Facebook call him. It should ring his phone.
No,
he doesn't have a smartphone.
He doesn't have a smartphone.
He has a flip.
He has a flip phone. Legit. He was the second to last person I've ever seen using a flip phone. Literally. Like the last person I saw using a flip phone was one of the wrestlers at TWE. It was his dad, who dropped it out of his pocket. It hit the ground, exploded into like 4 different pieces. He put it back together, put it back in his pocket. It was still working. I couldn't believe it. And you want to know what I thought? I thought at first I was like, oh, it must be a Nokia, but no, it was a Samsung. I couldn't believe it. It hit the pavement, broke into 4 pieces, and didn't explode.
I have a Samsung flip story.
It didn't. It didn't set him on fire.
Holy
crap, with the new Samsung phones, if you look at it wrong, it'll set your house on fire.
No, I have a Samsung flip phone story. Legit. I was goofing off with my girlfriend at the time, and we were like just chilling at the pool, and she pushed me in, and I felt my phone vibrate. Someone was sending me a text message. I flipped it underwater, and it still worked back then.
As many times as I've ended up.
As soon as I pulled it out, though, it died, but it worked underwater.
As many times as I've been in a pool drunk, I do not know how I have not lost a phone.
I've lost one in the washing machine.
Well, Heather, if it makes you feel any better, I lost a pack of cigarettes.
I remember that day. I remember that night.
Done that.
Excuse me.
In all fairness, Fritz and Daniel went and bought me they went and bought me a carton because they felt bad. But they did replace the pack. But it still sucked at the time period. I got thrown in. I was like, I'm wearing I'm in my regular clothes, man. What the fuck? You destroyed my clothes. I'm just glad my cell phone wasn't in there.
This was a Liberty Con, and Fritz and Daniel decided it would be funny to throw skunk in the pool. And they did not give him time to empty his pockets.
I had just taken my phone out of my pocket too when they'd done that. But I didn't take out my spokes. Because
I got some bad news for everybody.
What?
About 2 minutes.
We got to wrap it up because the next show starts over on the other channel on Strictly Facebook page in just about 6 minutes.
I know.
Oh,
that.
Boy.
It's party time.
Excellent.
Damn right.
We know that, Joe. We know that.
Oh, no. Please, no.
We could see the clock right there, Joe.
I just got murdered.
8:59, 1:59, 1:59:01, 1:59:02.
Yeah, that's it. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
everybody.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.